Secret place where there's only you and me. I don't know what to do. I'm so confused and I need peace. Take me home. Take me home. Take me Sometimes life weighs me down. I try to press on, but every time I turn around, it seems like I'm up against the wall. My life's upside down. I need to rest away from all life's mess in your secret place. Say there's only you and me. I don't know what to do. I'm so confused and I need peace. Take me to your secret place. Take me to your secret place. Take me to
Hello. We're live, everyone. We're live.
Hi.
Oh, I'm so excited. We have guests here this evening. And so for all of my guests, please share on your Facebook pages. You can share now to your own timelines, and guests who are watching, comments so that we know that you're here. And if you are watching on your phone too, just mute your phone so we don't get the feedback for the guests. And I am so excited. So let me start off by introducing you to everyone that we have on our cast here. And so I'm going to introduce all of you first, and then I'll have you give your opening remarks and just tell everyone a little bit about you and your homeschooling journey thus far, and then we'll dive right into the questions. And I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope y'all heard that was my song playing in the beginning. That was a little snippet of it, so I'm so excited about that. And so, okay, so first up, I'm going to introduce to you all, we have Chief Sam, as I call him, but Chief L and Baraka. And so you have a husband and wife duo on here with us. And so we're so happy to see you all. And so let me give you a formal introduction. And so Chief and his wife are two of the most diligent and compassionate couples that I know. For over a decade, they have observed the precision and the multidimensional guidance for thank you, my tech team's on it, for multidimensional guidance that this man and woman have given for their offspring, their beautiful children. And they have accomplished quite a bit. So they have an impeccable record, and they work far beyond any public or private mainstream institution. And their family is proof that homeschooling is comprised of conscientiousness, culture, love, and audacity. And they can guide your offspring as well. And they have a couple of curriculums that you can tap into if you're interested. And so I wanted to bring a variety of speakers here. And so let me finish this here. And so let's see. And so that they are really excited. Their website, which we'll scroll across, their website is docbotanica.com. And that's DOCBOTANICA And so you can get more information about them there. And so I'm super excited. You can share a little bit. Yeah, see, I have the best tech team in the world. So they got it. And so then I get to introduce you all to a couple of my other favorite people. And so I'm so excited. It's just great when you can have your friends on and they can share their expertise. Oh, I love it. And so hold on, let me just make sure that I get it right, because I want to give them all their credit. Although I feel like I could spill off their bios, I want to make sure that I am giving it to you all properly. And so we have a couple of guests who I'm so excited for you all to hear from. And so next up, we actually have Miss Alicia Campbell. And Alicia and I have known each other since high school. Oh, this is my bestie from Kenwood days. And oh my goodness,
Yep.
I'm so excited to introduce you all to her as well. And so let me read her bio to you now. And so Alicia is a certified teacher with a BS in elementary education. She has a master's degree in marriage and family counseling. She's a teacher, and she also turned into a homeschooling mom with her daughter, Carly, at the age of 3. She started homeschooling her. She also has 3 children, Carly, Carter, and Carson. And the boys are twins, y'all. So she's got her hands full, okay?
Yeah.
And she is married to her college sweetheart, Mr. Cardenas Campbell. So welcome. And then next up, we have one of my sister sales directors in Mary Kay, whom I love and has beautiful expertise. One of my mentors in the business, Miss Jenny Tejal. And let me read y'all a little bit of her accolades. I know she probably didn't put everything in here because she's so modest. But she's accomplished so much. And so let me get this one going. And so Jenny has been building and working her business, and she is a homeschool entrepreneurial mom of 3. Jenny, that's all you put, girl. That's all you put. Oh my goodness. Listen, let me give you a bio. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She also runs a dance studio, okay? She has a full-blown other business that she's running, and I'm so big on multiple streams of income and multiple businesses. She's a full-blown XT6 trip-winning Cadillac sales director with Mary Kay. So she's a big, heavy hitter, and she homeschools, and she's married, and her hubby, they're great. And so I will let her share a little bit more, but she has 3, and maybe now I'll have you all come off, and we'll go Jenny, Alicia, and then Chief Sam and his beautiful wife. We'll have you all share just a little bit about your homeschooling makeup, right? How old were your kids when you started? How old are they now? And so just share a little bit, and then I'll dive in with the question. And guests watching live, if you're here, make sure to comment. We're going to stream the comments as they come in. There we go. Yes. It says, I'm glad to be here. We're glad to have you. Hello. And if you're watching, go ahead and stream. Some people are watching from Facebook. Some people are watching from YouTube. And if you don't know me, or if you're new to my channel, I am Inez K. Jones, and you can follow me at Inez K. Jones on all social media platforms. And we get it in on the live topics. Ooh, we do. And so I do a variety of topics. And this week we're doing homeschooling because everyone got a taste of homeschooling during this COVID period, okay? So people got a rude awakening about their own children and what teachers go through. My background's in education, and I am also a singer. So every 4th Thursday we sing. You can watch any of our previous lives on my YouTube channel as well. And so let us know that you're here. And if you have questions as we're going through, or if you just like, oh yeah, preach, whatever, just comment so that we can stream it across as well. So go ahead, Jenny, tell us a little bit about your homeschooling experience.
Okay, well, hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Jenny Tejal. Like Inez said, I live in a small town about 50 miles south of Chicago. And my homeschooling journey started 11, 12, probably 13 years ago. It was not by choice. It was by circumstance. I never wanted to be a teacher. I didn't want to homeschool. I was the mom that the first day of kindergarten put my babies on the bus and said, bye girls, have a great day. Mom will see you when you get home, because like Inez said, I'm a sales director with Mary Kay. So I had huge goals and drive and ambition. And so I just wanted to build my business. I was thrilled when my kids went to school. I signed them up for preschool and kindergarten and 1st grade and 2nd grade. And I had another baby. So I had 3 under 3 young kids at home. And then my daughter had a serious gymnastics accident in which we didn't quite know what the injury would lead to, and we're holistic. So no surgery, complete bed rest for weeks on end. My grandfather died. My grandma never went home after the funeral. And so then I homeschooled while I became a sales director with Mary Kay and earned my first car. I don't remember much of that time, but the girls were about 8 and I didn't have the confidence to homeschool all 3 of them at first. I have twins that are now 20, and almost 18. And when the twins were about 8 years old, I kept them in school and homeschool just to see if I could kind of do it. And then Elizabeth had her gymnastics injury. And so pulled them out of school and kept them home and still sent the baby to school. And then the following year quickly brought her home. And it's been great ever since. And now they are all 3 Olivias this close to being done with all of her schooling. And like Inez said, I just bought a dance studio in December from a friend of ours where my girls always took dance. And so I'm a top director in Mary Kay and running this dance studio that I bought for my girls. So thanks to my Mary Kay income, I was able to purchase the dance studio, and that's what we're doing.
Hey, sorry, my alarm was going off. I'm like, hold on. I had to get the alarm. But okay, thank you. And I heard you, Jenny. Thank you so much. And Alicia, go ahead, and then we'll go with Chief.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Alicia Campbell. As Inez said, I'm a mom of 3 that I just absolutely love and just enjoying this road. Hopefully, I'll be like Jenny and get these kids on up, these twins. They're at a young age, 2.5, and I do talk school with them for about 5 to 10 minutes when they let me. My daughter Carly is 7. Now, Carly did attend public school for kindergarten. And then I kind of just was like, oh, I kind of want to homeschool, but I don't know. So the opportunity came about when my husband got a job in Ohio. So we're going to move from Alabama to Ohio. And I said, well, why register her? Let's try homeschooling. Because I really wanted to give her something different, just a more nurturing environment, and for her to become more aware of herself. So we started homeschooling, and I loved it. We started last year. So I'm not up there, I'm not a pro yet, but I have learned so much. And I think that it was the best decision for our family that we could have ever made. So I am truly, truly, truly grateful. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I just love being with my kids.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. All right, Chief and your beautiful wife chime in and say your name. So I don't like to pronounce people's names incorrectly.
All right, I'm Chief Achukma, and this is my mate Braca. We've been wed for 27 years. We have 5 offspring, and we've been homeschooling since 1999. And it's an amazing thing. Our oldest is at Webster University, and she's doing great things there. So I guess she's getting ready to enter her 3rd year. Through homeschooling, she's been able to teach in Russia, and then also do a semester in Thailand as well. So she's doing very well, and we have the rest of them getting ready to graduate very soon. And so it's a very exciting time. It's just amazing to see how things are, and as we do what our business is as well. My mate, she is not only a counselor, but she's a life coach and a training and a business coach. So, and that with all of the homeschooling and the businesses, it keeps us quite busy. So that's where we are.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna get into the questions. And so I have a few questions for you all. And guests, if you're watching, say hello. We want to know that you're here. and we will stream it across as the comments come. If you have questions, Mark says, yes. Okay. Willie P says, hello, this is Granny. Oh, hey, Granny. She said, I'm glad to be here. Go, Alicia. That's Alicia's grandma. Oh, I love it. So definitely comment, and if you have questions as we go, you can ask them. And so my first question for everyone is for you all to let me know, what do you feel are your recommended do's and don'ts of homeschooling? What are your recommended do's and don'ts of homeschooling? You can see the question across the bottom as well. And so raise your hand. Who wants to take it first? And then I can call. Go ahead, Jenny. Go ahead.
I'm going to start with the don'ts. Don't think there's something that you should do or should not do, and don't compare yourself. You have to know how your child learns and how you learn, and especially if your child started out in school. It's very challenging sometimes to unschool both of you. And so there's nothing that you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. You just there's a lot of spiritual go with your gut with homeschooling. And so just trust your instinct, know that you know your child best. And so just don't compare yourself and don't try to keep up with the Joneses.
So true. All right, we're going to go Alicia and then Chief Sam and his wife. We'll just keep that order for answering the questions, okay?
Okay. The first thing I would say, just like Jenny said, don't think that you have to homeschool a certain way. Now, for me, I had to reprogram myself, coming from a public school elementary teacher, lesson planning, sticking to a curriculum, and just, almost having to change my mindset in the way that I thought, because my daughter just learns differently, and I knew that. So I had to remember that I'm not in the classroom anymore. This is my child. I have to do what's best for her. This is what it's all about her. And that's what I did. So everybody, if you have a child and you want to homeschool, you have to do what's best for yourself, your child, and your family. Don't be afraid. If you are afraid to start, just do it. The don'ts, I said, just don't be afraid. Do the best that you can. Every day is a new day to start over. Just start where you are and do the best that you can.
Yes, that is so good. That's so good. And I know we got a few people who are watching. Hello, Chef McGarry. Cordell McGarry's in the house. Hey. Oh, Miss Angela Davis, she says, I'm here. Hello. We welcome. Hello, Miss Annika. Yes, thank you for tuning in. And if you have questions or comments, please type so that we can answer them for you, because we want to make sure that we're giving you what you need. Okay. All right. Same question. Go ahead and answer, Chief.
Well, I would have to agree with Alicia. There's some, each one, again, we have 5. And so 1 boy and 4 girls. Every single one of them are different. And there are different learning styles that each one has. And it can be challenging at times, but it's very, very rewarding. So making sure that you pay attention to each one and give that one what they need. So what would you say, Brock?
In addition to that, under the do's, I would say, first, remember that learning is constant. So it's not like a specified time only. They're always learning. I would say that's a do. And done is better than perfect. So getting things done, even if it's not perfect, is a very, very good thing. Definitely do this. I've learned this. I was not one to do the testing because I felt like I'm the teacher, I'm the instructor. I already know what you know. I know what you know more than you know what you know. And that worked for us. However, when it came time for my eldest to enter the university, she didn't do as well on the standardized test as she could have because she wasn't used to having to complete things in a specified time limit. So I would just say, make sure that whatever you do, you are sticking to, because it's a lot of flexibility, but make sure you stick to some kind of guidelines as it relates to time constraints, because beyond homeschooling, when they go on to higher education, that's going to be needed. in terms of don't fix what's not broken. There have been things that we've done that was working. Children were learning, going to expos, and then seeing the geniuses get up there, and then you thinking, well, I want my child to be a genius when your child was already doing just fine, and then seeing them fall behind because that wasn't the path for them. So don't fix what's not broken, and just make sure that you remember learning is constant.
Yes,
Inez,
beautiful.
I want to add one
Go
thing
ahead.
to that,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that is so true about the don't fix what's not broken. Because especially if you're new to homeschooling, you go, like they said, to those expos or conventions and you get your hands on some stuff and you just think, oh, this is going to work great and I'm going to get this and this and this. Don't just, you got to sometimes go home and stop. And I made a lot of lists. I learned to make a lot of lists, a lot of pros and cons lists. And then I would suggest, especially if somebody is new to homeschooling, under the do's list, what is your goal? What's the outcome that you're looking for? So at the end of homeschooling, what is everybody's goal? Your child is naturally good at some things. So like they said, going to university, they're going to have to learn how to test. They're going to have to learn how to answer to an instructor. They're going to have to learn how to do some timed, math or what have you. My girls, I knew entrepreneurship was in their future. So I ran our homeschool like I did my entrepreneurial business. And so I didn't punch a clock. We got up when we got up. When the first one got up, that one got up, and Olivia learned by cooking. So she made everybody breakfast. That was enough measurements and math and everything for her, because she started cooking from the time she was 3 years old. And so she learned how to do conversions and everything. She didn't need textbook math. Elizabeth ran the finances in my office. So she figured out sales tickets and sales tax and made change. And and Alexis, she does my grocery shopping today. She just had those she was just a natural born leader with natural life skills. So don't also think that you have to run an 8 to 4 classroom with everybody in a desk. I had one that did her school better after dinner. So once they got older, let them go and learn in their strengths. I had one that was an early bird. So we did hers in the morning. And once I kind of let them be a little more free and be a little more in control and in charge of their schedule, it just worked much more successfully, because it's not about the hours that you get in. It's not like school. There's a lot of time wasted in a classroom, and even any teacher or educator would tell you that, because it's one person at 20 some kids. So it's more the quality. And like they said, they're always learning. So we were homeschooling on vacation. We were homeschooling in the car. We were homeschooling at the bank, at the grocery store, at the dance studio. I mean, every opportunity was an opportunity for education and learning. And then the older ones can help school the younger ones. I only taught one child how to tie their shoes. One taught the rest.
Oh, wow.
Inez, I would like to add.
Chime in, please. This is a conversation, so y'all can chime in and then just read the question at the bottom. So you'll see we have a question from the audience, so you all can get prepared to answer that next. But go ahead, Leash.
Okay, I agree with Jenny, because when I first started with Carly, I knew that I could not go a traditional school route with her. Carly is a hands-on builder, make it, figure it out. If she makes something and it doesn't work, she's going to try 100 more times until it does. So through her Legos, through her cooking, she loves to help in the kitchen. She learns that way. Building dimensions and all these things. She surprises me every day. And I'm like, what is she making? Carly, stay out of my school supplies and out of all these things. She's like, well, I just need a string to tie this on so this can spin by itself. Okay, baby, let's work it out. Let's do it. But she is a child that needs to use her hands and do things. So you don't have to use a traditional approach. Figure out how your child learns by watching them, playing with them if they're at that age. Carly was 6 when we started, so I could literally play with her and talk to her about different things to see how she was learning. Her reading, everything. She loves to read. She loves to pick out books on her own. And I just follow her in that way. And I do want to add that you want to make sure that you are following your state rules for homeschooling as well, because homeschooling can be done at any time. And you want to make sure you either have to keep up with the days or the hours or whatever your state requires of you. you know, you want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind as well.
Yes, those guidelines are important, those standards, but you know, a standard is just that, a standard. It's a minimum. You can always do more, and your child might advance faster. So maybe they don't need the 4th grade. Maybe you're doing 6th grade learning standards with them, and just go with it. And so I think that's why China has us beat in this field, because they don't put limitations and they teach the students things very, very early. Very, very early on. And so, okay, I saw a question come across the screen. It says, how do parents who homeschool their children prepare them for college in the changing climate of technology, i.e. blockchain, coding, etc.? Okay, so we might want to leave that question up just so they can reread it. Thank you. Go ahead, Chief.
All right. With that is an interesting question. And how we have helped train ours is they have gone through, there's so many programs out there right now for coding and so forth. Our offspring have done coding for last several years, and are learning special programs right now, dealing with e-commerce. They're building sites and different things like that already. And they're doing an incredibly great job learning how to break down a computer, put up computers. So with all of the things and dealing with the blockchain and all these different things, what we have found is that in our quest in dealing with education, they're getting a more exposed, it seems like, to a lot more technology than many others are. There's a huge difference between actually homeschooling and public school at home. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing, of course, right now, where we took on the decision, whether it became from circumstances or what have you. But I know for our household, we made a decision a long time ago. Our youngest is 13. Again, our oldest is 21. So they have never seen a public school. So, and and 2 of them have black belts and so forth. So when you're dealing with technology, having them exposed to it, again, having them learn programs. A lot of the programs that adults are learning are the programs that they're learning. So, and that's what they're doing for their high school. In order for them to graduate from our program, they have to write a book. So there are multiple things that can be done, and that helps them a whole lot and prepares them for the higher education. And in this particular changing climate of technology, they are on it very quickly.
Yes. Anyone else want to chime in on this question?
Sure, I'll chime in. In addition to the technology, for all the people who are just looking for answers, it's not even that you have to, as the parent or as the educator for your children, it's not that you have to be an expert. It's not that you even have to have knowledge. However, it is important to make sure that you're connected. So what we do here, because we're in Missouri, but just about every state where there's homeschooling, there's something called co-ops. And cooperatives are where parents and children get together, and one parent may be good at this, say technology. So when they get together for that co-op, maybe one day a week, that particular parent who's good at technology will introduce and have a class teaching the children, teaching the students on technology. So I really like to say that you don't have to be good at everything, and really you just got to be a step ahead of them. Okay, so so I just want to encourage everybody, don't be discouraged and feel like you have to be the be all and the know all, because that's not true at all.
I completely agree with that. Yes. You know, and this isn't really going to pertain to technology, but I think it's more of a general statement just to kind of piggyback on that. You definitely don't have to be the wheelhouse behind. I mean, you have to be behind everything, getting them started. But the biggest blessing in homeschooling is the flexibility and the exposure that you could give your kids just by who you know and who they know and who other homeschoolers know. So we signed our kids up for a lot of things, like a cooking class. And we have a friend who's a motivational speaker who does it through, he's a magician, he's a professional magician, and he's a Christian motivational speaker. And so we expose them to him and to just all different areas in life. And then they naturally gravitated toward what it was that they wanted to do and work on. but it doesn't always have to be you.
Yes, I agree. I agree. You can you don't have to be perfect and know everything. For me, I'm interested, Carly's interested in coding. So I said, okay, what would you like to learn? Do you want to do coding and things like that? You know, I talked to her about it. But I do have programs that are on the computer already for her, such as like Google Classroom, virtual field trips, things like that, that introduce technology. If you can Google, you can find a program for your child, or you can find a book about it. Everything is literally at your fingertips. Children will be as advanced. They may say, oh, I want to learn this, I want to know more, I want to know more. You have to be prepared to be able to find information. You don't have to know it, you just have to know where to find it.
Alicia, I agree with you. I know homeschoolers, the thing that I've noticed, generally speaking, they're natural tinkerers. You know what a tinkerer is? They're always messing with something.
Yep.
So if you just give them the tools, they're going to figure it out. Worry
Yep.
more about their critical thinking skills, like do
Yes.
curriculums and
Yes.
things that are more idealistic, that get their brains moving. Teach them how to be a problem solver. And if
Yes.
you just do that,
Yes.
they're going to figure it out.
Mhm. Yes.
They're almost not going to need you.
Yep. That's
So
right.
true.
Yes.
Life
That is so
goal.
correct, Jenny. I concur. And I will, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I concur with you, Jenny. And also, I would just encourage people to remember, use your library. The life is something you want to know.
Yes,
you don't
yes.
know, let them know what you're
Go to the
looking for.
library,
The
absolutely.
libraries here, they're very sensitive and very helpful to the homeschool community. So,
Ours is too, and we're in a small
Yes.
town, and they're very helpful.
Yes.
And so while
as
we're on
well.
that topic, I want to ask you all, like, what programs or curriculums do you recommend or have you used over the last years that you all have been homeschooling, right? So you said, or what resources might be a better way to ask the question. What resources like have you all used? Go ahead, Jenny.
Google.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, like I went to one homeschool convention and I got my hands on way too much. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going home with nothing and I have to think about it. I've got to look into some stuff. So the first year I actually decided to write my own curriculum, meaning that I was very flexible in what I was doing. I Googled a lot of free resources. I used my library. I picked books that I wanted them to read. My girls read leadership books from the time they were little itty bitty. We started with Mary Kay's autobiography because so they all read that multiple times. And then the other thing is my number one thing was raising them to be a contributor to society. I wanted them to contribute something, to be able to use their God-given gifts in whatever area they wanted to. So every decision I made based on curriculum was centered around that. And so the number one thing to me, where kids are the least prepared coming out of school, is life skills. Haven't we all seen that meme on Facebook? Boy, I wish in algebra they taught us how to do our taxes. So that was my number one thing. They were going to learn how to balance a checkbook, do their taxes, give where they wanted to give, invest, and live off a less income than they made. And so managing finances was at the center of everything I did. And for that reason, I chose Singapore math, because if you research mathematics in Singapore, a child is given a problem in the classroom and they are given no instruction and they sit with the problem. It's all a base 10 curriculum. So with math, with his money is all a base 10. And they're given manipulatives, they're given worksheets, and they're given their textbook. And the teacher gives them a problem after they've been given initial instruction, and they get no help. And they use their critical thinking skills to figure out a problem. So for me, that was at the core of what I wanted them to learn. So I chose Singapore math for that. And then the rest, I really don't think there's any one perfect curriculum. I would just say stick with something for a little bit before you make a decision. But at the same time, if you throw something out there and it's a train wreck and you're miserable and you're miserable, don't be afraid to table it for a little bit. You could come back to it, but don't be afraid to say, you know what, this was a train wreck, guys. We're just not doing math today. Mom thought this, whatever curriculum would be great, and what a mess. And I'm sorry. So we're not going to do math today. We're going to revisit it tomorrow. So don't be afraid to table things. They don't need every subject every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. In addition, go ahead, Alicia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go after you.
I agree. I think that it's no perfect curriculum. It's nothing. It's we can recommend a million of them. The truth is you have to decide what your goal is. And for me, like I said, coming from the classroom, I had to reprogram myself. But I wanted to, because I never taught the little kids before. And by Carly being 6, I wanted to make sure that there was a balance, that I could feel confident in teaching her and that she could feel confident learning. So we started with a spiritual aspect, letting her build confidence in herself, gaining knowledge of self and belief in herself. And that is what I and my husband really wanted for her, is to just become more conscious, have more intent about what she was doing. And on that end, we started with that, and we did 50-50. We did spiritual work, and then we did even more, which is just like a workbook kind of homeschooling thing. We didn't have to do it morning, noon, and night. We just pulled it in if she needed more assistance in areas. And that was for me, really, because I didn't feel comfortable just saying, oh, we're going to do this, because again, I'm coming from the classroom. So we did even more, and then we did spiritual work. Now this year it's a bit different because the spiritual just has taken us so far that we're meditating. We are getting into just her powers and what she's capable of doing, and catching up with her interests and things like that. So you can get a whole set of books and everything. If you don't, it may not even work for you. So you have to pick something, try it, and then maybe pick something again, or just like you say, Google and use your library. There are so many resources at the library for free. If you have a paper and a pencil, you can go to the library and get everything that you need appropriate for that grade level or even above your child's interest. So I wouldn't stress too much about a curriculum. I would focus more on how your child learns and what your goals are.
Yes. Did you all want to chime in on this question?
Yes, definitely. Basically, what everybody's talking about is called eclectic. Eclectic approach is where you get bits and bits from different curriculums.
Yes.
A couple of our favorites for math, starting at 4th grade, was Saxton. And the reason being, when you're thinking about curriculums typically through traditional school or public school, what have you, remember this. A lot of times curriculums are made where you need a teacher, meaning they're intentionally leaving parts off and you need that teacher to fill it in. Now with Saxton, beginning at 4th grade, Saxton is a curriculum for math designed for children to self-teach, meaning it's giving them all the pieces, all the parts. So I want to say Saxton really saved us, starting at 4th grade. Another one that really saved us, I'm telling you, my daughter was reading at 3 years old, and that was a Becca handbook. It's a blue apple on the front. I've been able to teach children and an adult how to read with that one little book. Okay, so I would definitely say that reading handbook from Becca really helped them to have a strong reading foundation. And it's and then I definitely can't forget this one. This one is called AIA. We're actually affiliated with AIA, and basically that's Artificial Intelligence Academy. And with that one, it's where it's just teaching them how to be faster at reading and calculations, almost like how things are coded. It's teaching them coded methods of learning. And that definitely, I'm seeing that now, is really taking them a lot further. So that's what I would say. For those who Here's one benefit of the expo. There are a lot of benefits, but one benefit in particular is at expos, the ones we've gone to, and you can just kind of look that up or reach out to us. We can give you maybe some names of some of them, but it's a great place because typically there will be about, like, for example, 100 vendors with 100 different curriculums. It can be overwhelming, but at the same time, it's a way for you to touch, feel, and just kind of be able to see some of the differences. But again, remember, once you find something that works, do your best to stick with it.
That's right.
Make it simpler for yourself.
Beautiful. I saw a question
Inez,
come through on the audience. Oh, go ahead, Alicia. You had
I
something
want
else
to
to
say
chime
one
in?
thing.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Abeka is a good program, and I have Saxton Math, but I'm still, my daughter's still younger, so I'm still trying to ease her into that. But right now, she's just measuring everything, so I'm just letting her go on with a measuring tape around the house at this point. Just, but I do agree, and I also want to add one thing. Alpha Phonics is something that, and I'm looking down to get the name, it's called Bloomfield Alpha Phonics. If you don't feel like you can, I'm the type of person, I like bare bones. I want to be able to pull in and add stuff, but it's black and white. There's no pictures or anything like that, but it teaches phonics and it helps children to put that phonics and turn it into reading, and then it ends up with fluency. You can use it over the years. You don't have to, you purchase it once, you don't have to do it again. So that I wanted to add and agree with her about the Abeka. I really do enjoy that.
Yes,
And for
yes.
foreign language, we found everything we needed from Rosetta Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, Rosetta Stone is really good, and my second language is Spanish, so I've used Rosetta Stone at sometimes as well. Did you have one more book you wanted to share?
Yes, I want to share this because basically with this book or something of the sort is what your child needs to know and when. The reason why this is important is because, and you can even get this information from your district, your school district, just in terms of what they need to learn. Because once you know what they need to learn, then you can go to the library, you can go to wherever and get that resource. It doesn't have to be a particular curriculum, but you do want to know what it is they need to know. And then you just figure out how you're going to teach it to them.
Yeah.
So good. And I saw a question from one of the guests, Mark. Listen, you got to be on every live. You asking a lot of great questions. And so he says, how relevant do you think having a college education and college degree is today, since higher education is moving in the direction of boot camps, online learning, and certifications that transfer to real world skills and experience? So I'm going to chime in on this one. So I didn't say it, but one of my other businesses, I help students to get scholarship money for college with my Inez K. Jones consulting website, which we'll scroll that across the bottom as well. And so for me, I really do believe that college education is still relevant. There's still a place for it. There are still people who will benefit from not only the experience of the maturity, but also from having the degrees. But there are some things that you might not need a college degree for. And so, just having that conversation and being a little open-minded, because like back in the day, we were told like, you got to go to college, you got to go to college, you got to go to college. Well, truth be told, for all the businesses I run about 5 of them. I don't know that my degrees really made a difference. It gives me some accreditation, right? I got the University of Chicago, which is one of the most, prestigious schools or whatever in the U.S. I did pre-law there, and then I have my Master's of Education in teaching K through 12 from DePaul University. And so, I have the degrees to back it, but am I really using them? I don't know. And so there's, pros and cons, but I do believe if you're going to go to school, let's get it paid for. Let's get as many scholarships as we can for you. And so definitely you can look me up. You can look me up on Facebook or my website that just scrolled across. We'll put that back up again, but I'll let everyone else chime in on this question and see just kind of what you all think. So I do think it depends on the person. It depends on the child. Like, what do they want to do? Or do they need to have real world experiences? That's the other thing that I think is good, that I think a lot of you all do and maybe didn't exactly share about it, but I think you do like museum trips, just because I know some of you because we're friends, right? You do museum trips, you do outings, you do fields, and I'm such a firm believer in that hands-on experience. Even when I was, sort of in the classroom, like I believed in that. And so my background, I actually wrote the handbook on how to keep students on track to graduate from high school on time for all of Chicago public high schools. I am a co-author of that, and then I'm the sole author of the sophomore track handbook. And so it is really interesting that these children got to high school and some of them had never been to downtown Chicago. So I was like, well, we're going to do an outing. We're going to downtown. Ain't no way you live in Chicago. You haven't been to the Magnificent Mile yet. Let's go. Right. And for my mentor, Super Sisters Club, we did stuff like that. And so I do think that that's easy to do, and go on the free days, go on the day that is free so it can be cost effective for you, and utilize that. And like you said, the libraries sometimes have events that they put on. And listen, you don't have to just go to the library that's close to you. You could go to a library that's, a little further away, because let me let you know, I'm in the burbs now, and these suburban libraries ain't gotten, we were living in the dark in the city. All right. No, listen, Mayor, Lightfoot, get it together, because the suburbs, I feel like I was in a college. It is so amazing. And that's why I was like, everybody's always talking about going to the library. I said, let me just check out this library. Well, now I see why. You can do everything. They have everything. And then they have events and they bring in speakers. And so, like, literally check out libraries that aren't just close to you. So, okay. So anybody else want to chime in on that question? We'll put it back up on the screen. I see Miss Braca, thank you.
I would love to chime in. And again, our firstborn is third year at the university. She's doing very well. Even though this last semester she didn't do well, she's typically an A student. She dropped to a C student, and she told me C is for COVID. So I said, well, okay. But as it relates to that, so our firstborn definitely college bound, because she is studying to be a director, and that was the route for her to go. Our secondborn is more into e-commerce, and so with her, the route is more certifications. So again, as Inez mentioned, it's up to what they want to do and what their skill sets are, what it is they want to do, what the end goal is. Remembering that the university is also a business. So you use their business if it's going to help you with your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with
Alicia,
that.
you want to chime in on that same question?
Well, my daughter is young. She'll probably change her mind a couple of times here and there. College is not for everyone. Okay. Now, for me, having twins and they're my sons, I want all of my children to have ownership and have something. Now, going to college is great, because a lot of rich people, they have to hire people that are smarter than them. And I would like for my children to be the ones that's smarter, so they can have the skill set, whether it's in the financial or whether it's in the,
Okay.
I want them to follow their passion, but I need my children to know that it's real. You have to have ownership, and you have to know what you're doing. You cannot just wake up one morning and say, oh, I want to own a business. It has to come through hard work, dedication, and determination. And giving them that real world experience, the world is different for them. So I have to make sure that they have those real world experiences, that they can connect to the world. They can go to college if it's going to get them to a better and higher position. I don't care what field it is, I will support. But I need to know, like she said, college is a business. Is this going to help your business? Are you going to rise to the top where you can be able to offer generational wealth? That's really important.
Generational wealth.
That's important. That's important for me.
Yes, and we did a live on finances. So if y'all missed it, go to my YouTube channel. You can check out all the previous lives. Oh, hello, Mr. Robinson says a college degree is an introduction to a prospective employer or preparation for a prospective career. Very true. Very true. Very true. Okay, so my next question for everyone is about unschooling, because you all mentioned it a lot, and I don't know if everyone knows what that means or what to do or how to do it. And so I would like you to share with everyone real quickly here is like, what do you mean when you say unschooling, and what are your tips for people who are thinking about, transitioning or thinking about not putting their kid back in the classroom once schools actually do open up all the way for them to go in and learn, right? So go ahead, Jenny.
I think the first thing to realize, e-learning is not homeschooling. That is
Thank you.
number one. What you're doing at home right now is not homeschooling. And I mean no disrespect by that, but you're using a curriculum that, number one, you didn't pick, you're not familiar with, that someone else is in charge of, and that someone else is grading. And you're probably also not being respected as the teacher. So there's probably some pushback in the home because the teacher is giving the work, the parent is the enforcement. And so e-learning is not homeschooling. So that's the first thing to realize. So the unschooling term comes from kind of unlearning everything that you've become accustomed to if you started in a private or public school setting. I think the first word that comes to mind is grace. You have to learn to calm down, because I think that that's probably a big mistake of a lot of new homeschoolers when they first make the decision of pulling their kids from school. Just be patient and calm down. Like, there's no time frame. I remember teaching my girls how to respond to people, like, what grade are you in? And when people ask me, like, what year is Olivia in high school? I'm like, Olivia, what year are you? Because I don't know. I don't know what grade they are, what year they are. I know they're progressing because they finished this book and now they're in the next book. And so I did a lot of unschooling because I didn't want them to be bound within the walls of a grade. And so probably the most beautiful thing about homeschooling that I learned early on, we signed up for 4-H because, like I said, I wanted them to try everything at least once. And when we were in 4-H, and I just kind of sat back and watched, because let's be clear, 4-H is not my thing. And so when I signed them up for that, the most beautiful thing I witnessed was a senior high school group of boys working with my little kindergartner and third grade girls, and just helping them, teaching them how to hold a hammer, how to pound a nail, how to do things. And so you're not bound by age or a classroom or, just be patient, have some grace and be patient. And the unschooling term means to just kind of come into who your kids are and who you are and how they learn. And you're going to learn just as much from them as they will from you if you just let it happen. Probably the one thing I would do differently is let go a little bit more and relax a whole lot more. If I could do it all over again, I would have let them be more the driving force than me, so worried about what everybody was learning and when and how long it was taking and are we doing the right thing. And because I never fit in any arena, because back when I started homeschooling, entrepreneurs did not homeschool their kids. And I didn't fit in with the homeschoolers either, because my friends, when they studied the country of France, they had French food and talked the French language and they made clothes and did art projects. And I was just happy to have my stuff together, because I'm over here trying to run this business and run my husband's business and care for aging grandparents, and then homeschooling on top of everything. When I learned to just let life lead the instruction and let them learn wherever we were all the time, it was much better and everybody was happier.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
I agree with you, Jenny. And also, it's interesting because a lot of times with homeschoolers, especially if they've been homeschooled a while, you may have a child who's 7th and 8th grade, right? Because you're 7th grade over here and you're 8th grade over there. So that is very, very common. In addition to that, as it relates to like what we may say is unschooling, you just counting everything. And I do count everything. And it's cool to be able to have different categories based upon what the requirements are. And then as you just live in life, that fits into one of those categories. So everything gets counted. If you're cooking, okay, that's home ec. If you're walking, okay, that's gym. So, all these things, they count. So it just may not be a traditional suit, they're just making everything count.
One of the things I can also say is that when you're dealing with the unschooling aspect, again, waking up at different times, perhaps going to bed at different times, and we would have certain things that they would have to get done. We don't do that a lot, but then there are some things that as they're getting older, we would have more direction in certain areas as we see them going and say, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, then these are the things that it's going to take to get that done. So when we're dealing with that, again, we're looking at the aspect of all the areas of schooling, all the areas of life. Jenny said one thing very important. That's when you're dealing with different age levels. So we would have certain children teaching the other children, learning patience, learning how to adapt, learning how to deal with the elderly, learning how to deal with the younger, the very young. And so they get a very wide variety, a very wide exposure to different things. One of the things that we noticed when we had our oldest daughter get into the university is that they said this specifically, that they would give homeschoolers, true homeschoolers, again, let's make this distinction between public school at home and homeschooling. Totally different. So, and again, as Jenny said, it's not to disrespect or dishonor anyone, but that's the fact of it. It's a fact. So when we were looking at that, they were able to give her more scholarships, as not just more scholarships, just because of the fact that she homeschooled, but that she was a leader. When they're grown up in homeschooling, they're all leaders. We don't know of any homeschoolers that are not leaders. They are all leaders, and it's just an amazing thing. They learn to be self-motivated in the things that they do, and then business people. A lot of them are business people. Again, we've been business owners for a long time, and they're all business owners. So and that's the way perhaps that we're training them to be as well, business owners. So
I like to brought that in the chief, because the one thing too, especially when dealing with little kids, like my Olivia, she's hated school from the very beginning. And I mean, hated formal school. You put her with a textbook and it's like the walls are closing in on her. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes I would sit her with my grandparents and just let her listen to their stories. Mm-hmm. And that was her favorite thing to do. Or she'd be in the kitchen with her Nana cooking, and that would be her school for the day. Or I would consider she was happy just being with us. So while I was working with the older two, Olivia would be in there and she'd be learning by pure absorption. And so, like the chief said, they are leaders because they're independent, because especially when you have a lot of kids at home, they have to keep each other busy and themselves busy while you're over here doing this. And when I was working my business, my girls became very self-taught, because there were times that I had to step away and they were in charge of keeping themselves busy. And the one thing I would encourage you, probably the process of unschooling, where it would help parents kind of take a step back from formal school and to stop that comparison, is to journal. Journal everything, so that when you go back and look, use your journal to evaluate. When you start the new school year, look at what you did last school year, and you're going to see yourself. You did a lot more than you gave yourself credit for. They learned more than you thought they did, because a lot of things are happening when you're not even paying attention. And just let them ask questions all the time, because they'll learn from that, and then they'll start chiming in and answering each other. But if you journal and you teach your kids to journal, you're gonna have physical proof of how much everybody's learning, you included.
I want to say, Inez, I would like to add on too. By Carly going to school, I realized that my unschooling had to start immediately, because it was just her and I. She was raising her hand, asking, can she go to the bathroom? And she was just not confident. And I said, my husband he's not arrogant, but he's confident, especially when it comes to tennis. He's an amazing tennis player. And his whole family has a confidence about them. And I wanted Carly, I know that it's a competitive world, but if you believe in yourself, there's nothing anybody can tell you. And I wanted her to know who she was and where she comes from. I wanted her to know you can pull on the strength of your ancestors. You can do whatever you put your mind to, okay? I did not want her to feel inferior to anyone, any company, anything. But I wanted her to have that shine naturally because she does have it in her, just like her father, and just like me. But we are caring people, but we have to know whose we are and where we come from. And I wanted her to be deeply rooted in that because going to school was I just wish I never sent her to public school, but I was working, and I'm saying this as a public school teacher. There is no time in the classroom to truly, if you have 4 bad children, y'all, now come on. You have to focus on getting them under control and then doing a lesson. By that time the day is done, your child is going to school 6 hours a day. And they are probably being taught and retaining information for maybe 1, and that's pushing it, maybe 2. That's really pushing it. So we got to be real about it, and I'm being real about it. I had to this child came through me. So it's things that she needs to know first before the academics, which I enjoy the academics too. And she's great at it, but I needed her to come from within. And because what is it within is without. So that's what I needed for my child. And that's not for everybody. I understand. But for us, for this family, I have to have my children have knowledge of self first. Not mommy, not daddy. You don't emulate anyone, okay? You are a blessing to us all, but you have to be confident in yourself, and you have to give yourself respect, give yourself love. And that's what my daughter needed right then and there, that she was not going to get at school, and it had to come from her. So doing that, we meditate, we pray, we watch what we put into our bodies. We are very conscious about what's around us, the words that are coming out of our mouths. We think about what we think about. We're intentional. And that's the habits that I have to practice. So my children are watching me. So I allow them, when I'm doing my hair, and they're all in there because I can't go anyplace alone. When they're all there, we're talking about, let's, and I know spiritually, we will say just different affirmations. I'll say it to myself like, I can do all things, I'm powerful, I'm wonderful. And then all of a sudden, here come the boys saying it, here comes Carly saying. So your children watch you.
It's what's caught.
Yes, it's what they see. It's what they see. Yes. So you have to lead by example, because you would be so surprised. When Carly opens her mouth, I say to myself, oh my God, is she 7 or what? And I just have to laugh because she's telling the truth. She's saying the truth in an intentional way. And I can use this example. My mom passed away and my granny was crying. And Carly said, I'd never seen Granny cry, and I never seen Gigi cry. And I knew that I could not cry. I had to be strong from within for her so that she could cry on me. This is a baby that's 6 years old, being able to put these emotions in and saying, she repeats mantras. She, I say, ask yourself, is this for you? Is this going to benefit you? She thinks about what she puts in her body. She's always asking, is this healthy? Well, what is this for? She can tell you, this is vitamin C. This is what you can do. This is natural. Mommy, I want to do this. She wants to be a forensic anthropologist. I'm like, oh my God, you know what? I'm surprised. She shocks me every day. So we learn from our kids. We just have to take a breath, step back, figure out how they learn, and take that and go with it. That's how we do here. So I don't know. I agree with everything that you all are saying.
Oh, it's beautiful. Man, the hour goes by so fast. Okay, Gigi, come on. We're going over time.
One thing, I'll go into that next question if you want me to, but one thing,
go ahead,
Alicia, that you said is about just the confidence as a parent to homeschool, especially when you had your child in public school and that they had degreed educators teaching them, and now who do you think you are that you're going to bring your child home and give them an education, especially a higher education? And I remember my girls were in the gifted program, and I love our school district. I love our superintendent. I love 9 out of 10 of my kids' teachers that they had. We're in a small school district, and I loved it. But one of the things, they were in the gifted program, and when the No Child Left Behind Act went into place, that's the first program that they got rid of, was the gifted program in our school. And so the gifted program director pulled me aside, and I just told her, you know, Mrs. Smith, I'll say, I don't want to get her in trouble, but you know, I said, Mrs. Smith, how can I keep them home? Like, how can I can't teach them what you've taught them. I can't have them all home. I mean, we don't even get along on a good day. And she took my face in her hands and she said, Jenny, you were their first teacher.
That's
when
right.
They came to this school,
Yes.
they knew how to put their shoes on the right feet, and they knew how to read, and they knew how to say please and thank you. And you already were their first teacher. And so
Absolutely.
everything they're learning is coming from you. And nobody is more invested in your child's future than you. So because you love them, you can school them. And she
Yes.
said they will get so much more at home, one-on-one with you, than I can ever offer them in a classroom with multiple students. And I just thought that spoke volumes to me, that came from a teacher, that she saw the desire that I had to do this with my kids. And it was not by choice. It was God taking an ever-loving brick to my head to get me to be obedient to homeschool. Because I did not, I mean, I fought and fought and fought. There's a book by Lisa Welchel called So You're Thinking About Homeschooling. And if you're questioning it, I suggest that book because it's a super easy read and it's a very raw and real approach to the pros and cons list of homeschooling because it's not for everybody. I will say that there are some people who should not be homeschooling. So that would be number one. And number two, just remember e-learning is not homeschooling. So cut yourself some slack with that. But the next question, now, how do you view homeschooling your children versus you as a parent being educated in a public or private school? I went to private school my whole life, except for 2 years of public high school. And then I went to a private college, DePaul University. And pre-law, and I just envisioned, you know, myself, a baby on one hip and a briefcase on the other. And I just wanted to be this big career woman in downtown Chicago and maybe have a couple of kids along the way. But the one thing that started coming to fruition in my mind after homeschooling my girls is that I remember always being shushed, always having a check mark and talking. Always like, no, we're not talking about that now. And I was so creative, but always shushed. And you're compared. And when you're shushed so much, you start to put out your own light. And so teachers have to follow an outline and a time frame. And I think that those kids that are natural born leaders, and I think kids that have desire and true grit, a lot of times they get lost in the school system. And I just think, I remember summers with my grandparents and I learned so much from them. And so I think about that what I learned in school, I mean, I'm college educated. I'm a smart girl, but you know what? I don't know. Don't get me started on college education, but I just think that there's so much for, like, if you're gonna perform surgery on my brain, I want you going to the best school. I want you to have a degree.
Absolutely.
I want you to have a medical license. But I think there's so much pressure being put on kids at 16 and 17 years old. What do you want to do? They don't know.
I just got
They're
one
not
more thing.
responsible enough to clean their rooms still at that age. So I think we need to just get back to like their true God-given gifts. And I think that you can be free to let them play in their strengths and follow their true heart's desire on what they're loving, what they're good at.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The time flies by. And there are some website links that we wanted to show you all. So I think we'll put them in the comments. That might be the best way. I'll put them in the comments of the live so that you can see them. And I just love this conversation because I don't have babies yet. But when I do have them, I am probably 99% sure that I'm going to do homeschooling. And I did work in the classroom. I was an administrator for Chicago Public Schools. And so I just know that what I found is that from the ages of 0 to 8 are the largest growth spurts of any individual human being. And so for me and mine, I know I want to make sure that I'm instilling the core beliefs that I want them to have. And if y'all haven't joined my Breaking Belief Barriers group, be sure to join that one, okay? on Facebook. And also because I am bilingual, I can speak to them in both languages and they'll pick it up faster if I'm doing that with them at a young age. And so at least from those ages, I know I'm gonna have them at home with me, and I might have to hire a nanny because I do a lot, but I know that I can do it. And even if I didn't have the Masters of Education, honestly, I believe that I would, feel confident, and I would look to people like you all who have done it. And so I know I'm gonna save this live and look back at it to get the tips, because you all give such good information. And the time flies by so fast. It flies by so fast. And so I'm gonna have you all share final remarks right after I show the flyers of the upcoming events. So in your final remarks, you all can share whatever you would like to share. And so this one is coming up next week. My other lives I do for Mary Kay on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so next week we have our Naturally Beautiful flyer, and we can go to the next one. And so if you want to tune in for that, check out my Independent Sales Director page. But right here we have next Thursday, because this is our Thursday thing and we do all different topics. But next week I'm coming to you all. I haven't done just me at first. When I first started doing lives, I had just done me, and I started on Facebook Live, and then we got fancy and started streaming to YouTube too. And I had guests on, and so it's been amazing. But I'm going to give y'all just me next week. And so at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Thursday thing is going to be on the topic of being a caregiver or a caretaker for elderly, especially if there's someone who has Alzheimer's or dementia as well. And so you can tune in and find out. And I'm also going to be giving tips and information about paperwork and just things that you need to get in order, because if you don't know, I've taken care of several elderly grandparents. And so that we're all afflicted with Alzheimer's and dementia, and at different stages, and watch the full progression. And so I have learned a lot. And so I'm going to impart this knowledge on you all, because I've gotten a lot of questions from people who are struggling. And, it's not easy taking care of an elderly, whether they have dementia or not. Right? They require time. They have doctor's appointments. Like, you're literally running someone else's life, and someone who's grown and got an attitude. So we tune in for that, okay? Because I'll be excited to show you all a little bit and give you some information about that. And so these are the upcoming Makeup Monday events. And so Monday the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th are our events. And so you can tune in. We do a little makeup for our hashtag Makeup Mondays. We do makeup and marketing on my other channels, or if you're on YouTube, you can watch on the YouTube channel. And then we have a new event. It's going to be a beautiful business, which is a guest event for information about the business opportunity. And then next up, I think we got a couple more flyers. Oh, okay, here we go. And so I am going to have you all share like your final remarks. And so in your final remarks is what will be your last things you want to say, if something you didn't get to say, or whatever you might want to share as we're wrapping up here. And then we'll have Chief L, Sam, and Braca to go, and then Jenny. And then hopefully if Alicia gets back, she might have lost her signal, we'll add her back in and she can wrap up.
Well, my final remarks would be one approach that I think gives a lot of success for children, and I'm going to go back to me from when I had to transfer. I was educating the public school system. 8th grade, I had to transfer to a totally new school because we moved. I did not like it. At that time, 7th and 8th grade, I wasn't doing too well, but I'm going to tell you something. Short end, I wasn't doing too well. And because I wasn't doing too well, they decided to, I'm being rushed. They decided to move me to a different class, I guess, with the kids that weren't as smart. But when I moved to the class with the kids that weren't as smart, the kids that, quote, weren't as smart treated me like I was the smartest one because of the class I came from. But I'm going to tell you, that impacted me, because straight from 8th grade, that rolled with me throughout high school and throughout college, meaning the idea of mastery and doing well. Transferring it over to homeschooling, we have a mastery approach, meaning even if they're learning something and say they didn't quite get it, as long as they can go back and get it and learn it, they get credit. So with my daughter, when she graduated high school, homeschooling high school, she had a 3.8 GPA. That has been her GPA since she's been in college, and this is her 3rd year. So when they have a culture of mastery, a culture of success, I believe it carries on.
Absolutely. When I was in public school, I remember a time when, just as what she said earlier, that I was held back. And when I say held back, I would finish my schoolwork very, very early, and because of that, I would actually get in trouble. And instead of giving me more work or other things so I can just move on a lot faster. So that was my experience. And the number one thing for everyone, be patient, love the learning process. See them experience it. You will have those offspring for a short period of time, and then they move on. So that was one of the main reasons why we also decided to homeschool. We wanted to have that relationship and influence. So just make sure you have fun doing it. Don't make it stressful, and just have a great time doing it.
And do what's uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. You will get
Beautiful,
right.
beautiful. Okay, Jenny.
Chief, I got in trouble too. You are not alone. I got in trouble. My mom got called to the school because I was finishing my work too fast. And then I would go around the classroom and tell everybody else how to do their work because I was bored. So the beauty of homeschooling is that you can bash the boredom. We followed mastery skills as well, as Braca and the Chief did. And there's something to be said for that. It's not just rote memorization, but, you know, just ask your children, what do you want to learn today? What do you want to learn today? What are you interested in today? And ask them a lot of questions and let them lead. Just allow them the freedom and the time and the space to lead the learning, and they will. And it won't be perfect in the beginning. It might be a little bit ugly in the beginning, and that's okay. But have patience with yourself and with them, and they will have patience with you by you showing it to them. But it's not, and don't be afraid to just put it away for the day. There were many days that we were homeschooling that I was like, you know what, we're done for the day. Really, Mom? We're done? Yep, we're going to go to the zoo. We're going to the zoo right now. Pack a lunch, get in the car. And sometimes you just need a break. So don't be afraid to just table the school day, because every day is a new day.
Yes, yes. Okay, Alicia's back. Go ahead and give your final remarks, hon.
Well, I just want to encourage parents out there that want to homeschool and you're afraid, just do it. If you really feel that it's your calling, that it's something that you feel that you can do, it will bring you so close to your child. The relationship that you're building, that's what it's about, building a relationship with your child and that unity within your family. Homeschooling allows that. And I think that my family is more solid. We're closer. We do everything together. And we're just enjoying right now in this present moment. We try to live in the moment and be grateful and show gratitude every day. That's, if you want to do it, go ahead and start.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You all are on mute. But you can unmute if you had to chime in. But this has been so amazing. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Thank you for imparting your knowledge. Thank you for sharing with us. I always love the lives because you never know kind of how the conversation's going to go. But it's always great. It's always great. And we never have enough time. And we went over a little bit, but I know that it was a great topic and it's so beneficial. And we're going to share some links. I know Jenny suggested a book, so we're going to put all those things in the comments. And if you all, you can just add them to the comments of the live so that we can share the information. Okay, Alicia?
I have one last thing. You all, I love watching YouTube. My busy bees and me, I would like for you all to just share and just take a look at her channel. Her name is Erica, and she has a wonderful family. She homeschools. She's been doing it for so long, and I just love her. And also DTR 360 Books. If you want to get books for your kids, please check them out. It's an online bookstore that I just absolutely love, love, love.
Yes, yes. And so we're going to put all the links in the comments. So just check back for the comments as we are ending this evening. So thank you all for tuning in. If it's your first time, tune in every Thursday for our Thursday thing at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for all of my guests. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much. We're so grateful. And y'all listen to my song on the way out and tune in at Inez K. Jones for our Thursday thing. Take care.
There's only you and me. I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. And I need. I wanna be, I gotta be, I need to be in your secret place where I know what to do. I'm so confused. And take me, take me, take me.